Welcome to this video, which will guide you through the new Target Regions feature available in the CytoSure Interpret Software version 4.10 onwards. This feature allows the user to focus their analysis on specific regions of interest in the data, and by choosing to remove any unspecified regions, it helps to avoid the problem of what to do with incidental findings from the whole genome dataset. Target regions can be set up in advance by an administrator to guide the analyst to where they should focus their attention, and a permanent record of targeted regions associated to each case is maintained in the database for audit purposes. The Target Regions feature is particularly suited to the analysis of data from highly targeted arrays. The first step in the process is to create a region list that contains the targets of interest. In this example, we are going to create a region list via an Excel spreadsheet. The spreadsheet should contain the minimum information of chromosome number, the start and stop positions, and a name. This example contains 66 unique regions. Once created, the spreadsheet needs to be saved as a tab delimited text file and then imported into the software. This is done via the Tools, Options, Region Lists, and clicking on the Import from Text File button. Select the newly saved text file and then assign the columns to the correct headers in the drop-down lists. Set the Import from Line option as 2 and click Continue. An error message appears showing any regions that have been found, and if this looks correct, click OK and finally give the list a unique name, for example targeted genes. Click OK and the new region list will appear in the table of existing lists. Now the regions are in the software, they can be associated to a case. This can be done automatically via a file parser or manually from the Database Management tab or the Genomic View. We are going to look at automatically associating the target region to a case via the file parser workflow. This option allows the user to perform a bulk import of sample and experiment information at the same time. Again, this is done by creating an Excel spreadsheet and saving as a text file. Here is an example of a formatted spreadsheet for importing sample information. The required columns are sample ID and array barcode. In this template, the slide barcode and array position are automatically combined into the array barcode column required by the software. Users can include other laboratory specific information as long as the data fields exist in the software. For more information on this, see the user guide. Target regions can be associated to a case in an additional column which we are going to call Region List. The following formats can be used. To add an individual target region whose name is unique amongst all regions in all the region lists in the system, simply include the name of the target region, for example BRCA1. To add an individual target region within a particular region list, provide the name of the region list followed by a colon and the name of the region, for example Panel 1 BRCA1. To add all regions within a particular region list, provide the name of the region list followed by a colon and an asterisk, for example Panel 1 asterisk. And multiple definitions can be used, with each definition being separated by a comma. In our example, we are going to associate all the samples in our spreadsheet to all the regions within our targeted genes region list. So in the column called Region List, we will enter the format targeted genes : asterisk. Then save the sheet as a text file called Demo Target Regions Import. Please take note of the sample names in this file. Next we go to the Database Management tab and click on the paperclip icon to parse the information into the software. Once set up, the same file parser can be used for all subsequent import if the data is in the same format. We need to create a new parser for this example, so select No at this prompt. Navigate to the demo target regions import text file and click Open. The Create Parser window will now appear. We start by giving the file parser a name, for example, Target Regions 1. And select the column separation character used. Next, click on the column headers in turn and assign it to the relevant heading from the list in either the Basic Field or Custom Field section using the drop-down boxes. Columns can be ignored if they are not required, and after each change, click on the Update button at the bottom of the screen to confirm. Note the array barcode information must be assigned to the Custom Field section under Experiment, General and Expected Barcode Position. The column containing the target region specification should be assigned to the Basic Field section and Target Regions field. At the top of the file parser window, select file type as one sample per line. Make sure you check the box Automatically Create Samples and Experiment if required, and finally choose to import from line 2, which will remove the headers. Click on the Update button in the top section to confirm the file parser changes. Now click on Load Data button. When prompted to load, import the test file, click Yes. A checkbox will appear displaying the lines in the text file where the software has failed to find any information. The error should start after the last line containing sample information. If this looks correct, click Yes to proceed and import the sample ID. To check if it has worked, you need to refresh the database management page by clicking out of the tab and back in again. Now you will see your sample information in the list of samples. If we click on the Experiment Details tab, we can see in the middle section the Target Regions table, and this will display the target regions that have been associated to the selected sample. If required, the list of regions can be further edited by clicking on the Edit button next to the table, which will bring up the list of all the regions assigned to the case and can be modified accordingly. Users now have a couple of options on how to perform the analysis on their samples. They could choose to load the feature extracted file related to the sample into the software via the accelerated workflow mode at the top of the screen, but the more likely option is to automatically detect the sample ID and process the case via batch processing. To do this, we click on Tools and Batch Processing. We confirm that the correct protocol is selected for the analysis, and then click on the Add Files button to select the feature extracted text files. Now click on Process button at the bottom of the screen, and in the Missing Details pop-up box, choose to match barcodes to existing sample information. Assign the slide barcode field to Experiment, General, Expected Barcode, and finally click No when prompted if the array position and slide barcodes are in separate fields. The software will now process the cases using the selected analysis protocol. After analysis is complete, users can select the cases they want to review and load them into the workflow, which will open up the Genomic View. This displays the data for the whole genome. The specific target regions associated to the case are listed in the Target Regions tab in the bottom right corner, and selecting a region in the table results in the display of that region in the scatter plot. If preferred, and to help avoid any incidental findings, the user has the option to remove all other data points from the analysis. To do this, go to Tools, Options, Probe Filtering, and in the Target Regions section at the bottom of the window, select the Remove Probes Outside Target Regions During Batch Processing option. This is an analysis protocol change, and so a new protocol will need to be created and saved. Then when you perform the batch processing on a case, make sure the protocol is selected in the batch processing window. After processing and loading a case, as in this example, you will see only the data for the specified target regions is displayed, and CMVs will only be detected in these regions. All other data is removed. An additional benefit of the Target Regions feature is the ability to create target regions from the CMVs identified in a previously analyzed sample, and associate these target regions with the imported case. This can be useful during trio analysis to restrict analysis of the parental samples to CMVs found in the proband sample. To do this, we first have to create the target regions and assign it to the parental sample. This is done in one simple step by including the sample ID of the proband from which to create the target regions in the text file that is to be read by the file parser. So in our example, we have examined the child sample in a case called proband 22 and found 6 CMVs. We then associate the target regions to the parent sample in the target regions column by entering the proband sample ID and saving this as a text file. Next, we import the text file via the file parser as before, again ensuring the array barcode column is assigned to the custom field, experiment, general and expected barcode. And this time we link the target regions column to the target regions sample ID field in the file parser before we import the data. This will create a new region list called proband 22, containing the regions matching the CMVs in the proband sample. Now we can process the parent samples via the batch processing option. To restrict the analysis of the parent samples to just the CMV regions in the proband, and so to avoid any incidental findings, we have to make sure that the analysis protocol used has the Remove Probes Outside Target Regions During Batch Processing option selected. Now add the relevant feature extracted text files to the batch processing table and click on Process. Next, choose Match Barcodes to Existing Sample Information and select the Array Barcode field, followed by a click on No. After the files have been processed, we can load one directly into the workflow to view the results. If we click on the Whole Genome button, we can see that the only data displayed is that from the 6 regions identified from the CMVs in the proband sample. That's all for this video, but please check out our website for further resources and support, or email support@ogt.com.